Hello, everybody out there again. Old Buck Dave, episode 110. Hard to imagine. 110. I'm here post Thanksgiving, laying around like a beached whale, like everybody else, I guess. I don't know if there's anybody else out here who wants to talk to me.
Hey, I just want to say this is old Buck Dell, and I'm also out here with you with what I like to call a little bit of post Thanksgiving blues.
Post Thanksgiving blues. Talk to me about that.
Uh, you know, uh, we mentioned Thanksgiving that you really shouldn't wait till the day to say hello to an old friend or something. We
That's right.
encourage people to do that all the time.
That's right.
But so we did manage to get through the day. A lot of build up to that, a lot of travel, a lot of people moving around, a lot of shopping to prepare for that day. Um, we did have Thanksgiving dinner with a large family who had a lot of children, which is
It had to
which
be different for you.
well, totally different for me, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of cool to watch all that take place. The kids running around and everything, and of course now I pictured myself as the older people that I remember
Yeah. Yeah.
just sitting out of harm's way while
Si-
this is all going
yeah.
on. You know
Sitting
what I
there
mean?
watching the football
But
game. Yeah.
I actually sat through some Thanksgiving Day parade. Um, a little bit of that. I watched some of that. Actually, kind of amazed what goes into that, how they built those things. So I would appreciate it from that perspective that someone went to the trouble to build all that stuff and put it out. So I didn't spend a lot of time with the parade viewing, but what I was going to
Okay.
comment on was, there's
Yeah.
a lot of cleanup after
No,
Thanksgiving.
it's gotta be. Yeah, my gosh, the streets are
Lots
littered.
of cleanup. Um, I mean, we left the our friend's house with a what we call your little takeaway.
Oh
Your
yeah,
little kit they make for you to sort of help whittle down the supply of everything.
yeah.
And so we ended up with a lot of stuff leaving the house. But the other thing that always amazes me is that if you have a large group of people and it's in a potluck, you know what I mean by potluck day? The
Yep.
potlucks are
Everybody brings something.
everybody brings something, and the object is, well, there's going to be 20 people there, so I need to prepare enough of my mushroom stew for 20.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, geez, if everybody does that, it just
It's enough
grows
for
exponentially,
it's
right? There's
enough
just
for
so much
20
food.
squared, right? It's enough for 400 people.
Yeah, yeah, it's not for 400 people. And so, of course, that's what happened.
Of course.
My wife made a little bit, and I said, they're not going to eat all this. We're going to end up bringing it back because I don't mind. I don't like, I like that stuff cold as it is, but it was that was typical. So the layout was sumptuous, and everybody got more than enough, and there was tons and tons left over. So that there's refrigerators and containers, and there's Tupperware galore
Oh yeah,
throughout America with
yeah.
stuff in it.
Load it up. Load it up.
But still a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah, I did it the easy way. We've got a tradition, and I don't know, it's going on. I'm not sure, 6, 8 years now that we go out to dinner with a British couple that comes here for the winter, and he's 86, I think she's 84, and
Mm-hmm.
they're both about 5'2". British from Leeds, and they are absolutely delightful. They are such fun people to be with, and they've got tons of stories, and we swap kid stories and grandchild stories and
And
stories from the
all told
past.
nicely in that British accent with
Oh yeah,
it.
we just have a ball. So I had the traditional Thanksgiving swordfish last night at the restaurant. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
bucking tradition here, as is my wont. But yeah, we had a nice time. It was a nice time. But hey, speaking of Thanksgiving, I've written down 3 things that I've been thankful for. If you're interested in listening, not gonna,
I would be interested in see what
all
your
right,
thoughts are on that.
okay. A couple things that just have jumped up at me. First of all, a good friend recommended a documentary to me. It's called Mission Joy, and it's a documentary about Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama. You know both of those guys. It's
I do.
well,
I do.
late Desmond Tutu at this point. both spiritual icons, Nobel Peace Prize winners. It was really sweet. They were talking about love and forgiveness and joy in your life. It was funny as it opened up. They were really teasing each other, and I thought, boy, they're acting like two little boys, not like two 80-year-old guys. And then right after I thought that, Tutu's daughter, chimes in and says, they're acting like 8-year-old boys. So it was just sweet.
In the documentary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they really like each other. But it wasn't just yucks. They told about their struggles, how they gained wisdom with age, and the things that they've been through, and achieving inner peace before you can share joy with others. It was a nice inspirational documentary to watch. Interesting characters. So,
And of course, that I was not far from Desmond.
I was going to ask you what.
Yeah, we saw a lot of him in the news, and I was not in any official gatherings with him, but wherever he went, he always drew a crowd, and he was a man of the people, and he was humble. He was humble, but
he was really just an inspiration.
Amazingly humble.
You think of what he, apartheid and just never giving up, and
yeah, he spoke to truth about the truth. What they say, speaking truth to power, and he just not like injustice, and everybody loved him. I mean, he had a great respect. So
yeah. It was just really fun to watch.
So we'll take that recommendation. Wasn't that on PBS? I swear I saw something. It
could have been. It could have been. I watched it on YouTube.
But anyway, okay. So then
it could be out there. We'll put a link to it. Okay, number 2. This was interesting. A friend texted me that he said, I'm at a hotel in Mount Washington. So I said, So I texted back. I said, can you see Pittsburgh? Turns out he was at the real Mount Washington.
Yeah, I was like, on the Mount Washington.
Yeah, he was a little puzzled by my response. And then he thought, oh, Dave used to live in Mount Washington, Pittsburgh. Yeah. So we had a laugh about that, and then he called me, and he said he told me another really sweet story. When they were traveling from the Boston area to Mount Washington, they were staying at the Bretton Woods, so it was a sweet place, cute place. And he was about 2.5 hours from home, another 2 hours from Mount Washington, when he gets a flat tire warning. Okay, so luckily there's a truck stop kind of place right up ahead. He pulls over to call AAA. First, he tries to put some air in his tire, and the air machine doesn't work. So he's thinking, well, okay, I'll go into the counter. I'll get the exact address to this place so that when I call AAA, I can tell them exactly where I am. And so he's waiting in line. It's his turn, and he says to the woman, "I'd just like your address for I got to call AAA. I got a flat tire. And by the way, your pump doesn't work. Your air pump doesn't work out there." And the guy behind him in line says, "Well, wait a minute. Maybe I can help you." Okay, this is a trucker. He goes out and looks at it. He says, yeah. He says, "You're right. The air pump's not working here." He says, "Well, listen, drive your car over to my truck. Just slowly, so nothing gets damaged in the wheel." Anyway, he goes over. The guy's got an electric air pump. He pumps up my buddy's tire, and he says, "Okay, rotate. Drive a little bit. Okay, yep. Here's the leak. I found the leak." And he says, "I can patch this for you. I can plug it." Buddy's thinking, "Wow, you can plug it, really?" And the guy says, "Yeah, I can do that for you. Not a problem. I know how to do this." So the guy plugs the leak. Everything's fine. My buddy, wants to pay him, his thanks for doing this, because he was going to be waiting a long time for AAA probably, and then they weren't going to plug it. They were going to
new
tire. We're going to tow him to a garage, and he was going to buy a new tire. Anyway, so He said, so the guy refused the money. He was just really modest. He says he was almost embarrassed that I offered him the money. He said he was just a great guy, a stranger, didn't have to do that to me. And he said, you know what else he was? He was a Trumpster. Okay. He says, no, he didn't have a MAGA hat on, but he had Trump stickers all over his cab and that sort of thing. He says, that was a real lesson learned for me.
Can't
we're
judge
all,
them all.
we're all folks, and just, life is just so much better when we don't drag politics into every millisecond of our lives. So I thought that was a good
that's a good lesson there. A good lesson learned in that you can't you can't judge everybody by one criteria. It
yeah,
just
we're all people in the end.
You have to meet them all and judge them all one at a time. Then you can make a claim to that.
Yeah.
So what was the other? What's the third piece?
And the third one is I've talked about this Ukrainian mother and her daughters who left Ukraine several months ago.
Oh yeah, and several episodes back, the struggle to get from there to here.
Yeah, and husband back in Ukraine. He's a welder. He's 45 years old, and he's got a damaged leg. He has a bad limp. Anyway, early Thanksgiving morning, he showed up in St. Petersburg, USA. He made it. He got out of Ukraine, and
what an ordeal that must have been.
Through Poland again, and a couple flights here and there, and then into Miami, and then they picked him up in Miami and drove him home. So the family's reunited on Thanksgiving. So
in other words, the little nuclei family there. Just the husband, wife, and what, 2 daughters?
2 daughters plus the grandparents plus the wife's sister who's already here, and the wife's mother and father. So they're all here together.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because anytime they leaving other people behind, it's always
they did have
emotional struggle.
Well, he did have to leave people behind. He left his father, I think, and a sister, I think, left behind. But anyway, so happy for him, happy for the family. So it's a nice. Another nice chapter in this story here. So something to be thankful for.
I mean, I would also say there are certain things I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that the drive to and from the location that I went to for this dinner was uneventful, but I was just about to come home. I said, I haven't had a close call yet.
Yet? Is that the operative word?
Yes. I'm telling you.
Okay, so what happened?
I'm telling you. I've been just about the time I said that. I only had one more little straightaway to turn onto, and once somebody pulled out and was going to go the wrong way on the wrong side of the street, and it wasn't close. But I said, there it is. Okay, so it's out of the road now. It's over. So
it's over.
Hey, I do have a cute story. Do you
tell me about it?
Do you ever remember a car called the Geo?
The Geo,
a Geo Metro.
Geo Metro, yeah.
You remember those? I'd forgotten about them. I completely forgot they even existed.
Were they real tiny, maybe, or
they were tiny. They were definitely small. I guess it was right after the gas shortage or something. They started making it. So it was. It does exist.
This is made by General Motors.
I believe so. Either that or they imported it from Korea or something. I don't know how they.
Okay, so those are old, right?
They are old. So it turns out that a man that I know is 83 had a 1990 Geo Metro with 40,000 miles on it.
Whoa.
And it was a golf car, meaning the lady who owned it before him only drove it from the house to the golf course, which is perfect for that because you leave the top down, you put the clubs in the back, and you just drive back and forth.
It's a convertible yet?
Yeah, they're a convertible.
Oh,
so
classic! Wow,
it is a classic. And I looked at it for a long time, and the old man, I said, let's put the top down. So I convinced him to put the top down, and it was kind of like it's in okay shape, but it's dirty. And, but it was his only car. It was his only car.
Mm.
So I gets the top down and I said, let's go for a ride. Now I'm thinking, okay, let's
You're
go
going
for a ride. I said, does it have a seatbelt? He said, hey, this is kind of modern stuff here. Sure enough, there was a seatbelt. Had a
you're going to
little,
go onto the real
I'm going
roads.
onto the main road. It's licensed to
Okay.
drive. So he cranks it up and is running good, and away we go. And of course, I think I might have mentioned to you that as we get older, we kind of like to be driving because we don't trust anybody else's driving. So if
So
you have
you're
two two
you're
70-year-olds in the car, there's a lot of
yeah.
tension about
Boy,
how
oh
the
boy.
driving's going now. So anyhow, we're driving and he's not doing too bad. He's turning a little ahead of traffic. I'm thinking, boy, that's close. He's doing this and that. But the funny thing about this, he's just driving along at a leisurely pace.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys with these uh, big Dodge Ram trucks with the big wheels and stuff like that on it. I mean, their bumper is above the,
Oh,
it's higher than the back of this car.
oh,
So we're out there moving around thinking, oh, my
oh,
soul.
oh
And so
man.
those
It's
guys get
not
so
the way
close
you
to
want
you.
to die, right?
Right.
Not
They
the
get
way you
so
want to.
close to you. I don't think they can see you. You're like
Yeah, that's
beneath their
right.
field of vision.
That's right.
So anyhow, I had a nice experience on this riding in this 1990 Geo Metro, and it's for sale. So if there's any of our listeners have a hankering to own this thing,
Ah, so,
they can get in touch with BUCKSTWOOLD at gmail.com, and we'll put them in touch with the owner if it doesn't get over and someone else doesn't pick it up somewhere, because
does he have a price on this? Or
he does, but he's overpriced and he thinks it's worth more than it is. But maybe someone will offer him something that he'll bite on. But so he needs a new car. He finally sells this car, or he's going to not drive it anymore. And he comes up with a Mitsubishi Ellipse or Eclipse. You know what that is? That's like a bigger sports car convertible.
another convertible.
Another convertible. And I said, man, oh days. I mean, that's a real hot rod,
Oh, okay.
that Mitsubishi. So he comes home with that.
That's a kid's car.
That's a kid's car. And he's 83 and he
He's
loves
an
this
old
convertible.
kid.
And I'm thinking,
Oh
oh my
gosh.
soul. So the best of luck to him. And like I said, I just threw that out to you as a fun little excursion. And if somebody does want to buy it, write to us and go from there. So
Go from there. Yeah. It's a 1990 Geo Metro convertible. I'll see if I can make a note here.
well, anybody Google it, you'll see pictures
see
of
if
it.
I
They're
can.
still out there.
I'll put a link to it. If I
Yeah,
can
there's
find a
actually some
picture of it.
still stuff out there.
Okay. Super. We'll
Of
do
course,
that.
everything is out there. You don't know where it's at.
Everything's out there. Yeah. Hey,
Hey,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you had a stump the buck story. You wanted to tell me.
That's
I
just
didn't
what I was
interrupt
going to say. I said, I got to stump the buck ready for you.
you. Go ahead, see if you can stump me. I'm pretty
All right.
hip on the latest news, so you might
All
not
right.
be
So,
able to do it.
okay. I know. Well, you nailed the last one on the first hint. So,
Okay,
you're
I'm
moving up.
ready.
You're
I'm
ready.
sitting
Okay.
down.
All right. This is like Jeopardy. When I give you the answer, and then the
Who
answer,
was? What is?
the answer is the question. Okay. So the answer is 77. All right.
Okay.
So we're still in the numbers now. 77. Here's the first hint. Thank Henry Ford and the Big Cats.
Frank, you saying Frank Henry Ford and the big?
Say thank you to Henry Ford and the Big Cats.
Oh, thank you to Henry Ford and the Big Cats.
That's the first hint. It's kind of obscure, but
yeah, it's obscure hint. Give me another hint.
This is recent news now. Okay, recent news. Okay. A high market is.
See, that's starting to ring a bell, but I can't put it together. One more clue.
The same height as Josh Allen. You got to get it on this clue. You know who Josh Allen is?
That sounds like a ball player. Is that a ball player?
He is a ball player. He's a quarterback for a football team, obviously a football team.
Bills, isn't he a quarterback for the Bills?
He's a quarterback for the Bills.
And he's
you're getting close.
He's about 6'8".
He is well,
I give up.
he is 77 inches high, but that's not the answer. The question, okay, you give up. All right.
I give up.
All right. So it's
You've stumped me.
That's how much snow they had at the Buffalo Bills Stadium, Highmark Stadium. Okay.
Oh, that's right. Highmark Stadium.
Highmark Stadium is their stadium. They had 77 inches of snow there, the same height as Josh Allen. So they had to play at Ford Field in Detroit, home of the Detroit Lions, the Big Cats. Get it?
I get it now.
Oh gosh.
Well, you don't have any trouble. You don't have too much trouble stumping me. I mean, but I do recall that story. But I do love. I mean, I do understand 77 inches of snow. I do understand that. Of course, I don't want to walk in it, work in it, or do anything else in it, because the only time I enjoyed that is when someone else had to open the sidewalks. I was too little to
Oh yeah.
have to deal with it. So hey, I have some interesting news.
Talk to me.
That did you follow the latest transportation dilemma that we're coming up on? We're put the country into a quick standstill.
Ooh. Boy, this is like stump the buck for Dave, right?
Sort of. I mean,
Yeah.
didn't you read about that? We thought resolved the issue, and now it might be another strike.
Company is bringing the nation to a standstill.
Trains,
Trains,
rail service.
rail service. Is
You
there
must
rail
not have.
service in this country?
There is rail service. In fact, the union rejected the proposal.
Boy, I totally missed that one. You got
Yeah,
me.
I was just reading in the paper, but it was on the news too. But they rejected the proposal, so they theoretically in December they could have this massive rail strike, and they were speculating on what that does to the supply chain and so on and so forth.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So my question over coffee to you and to the rest of your listeners is, when something like that happens, and you have this human beings trying to improve their status or their lot in life, and you have this much money, that you have this much catastrophe that could happen from a rail strike. How much money do the owners of these companies have to make, or the investors have to make, to put us to the brink like this? Do you know what I mean? It's like, is there no limit to like, let's pay these guys. Let's pay these guys to drive these things and get out there in all kind of weather or whatever their issues are. Why don't we just do that and not put this company, put the country, a gun to the country's head about this strike? And if the owners are making money, the company's making money, and investors are making money, why do we go through this? I don't understand that. Okay, that's too many questions for you.
That's a lot of questions here.
All right, I'll tell you what.
Okay.
One time I was riding the rails, and we were actually catching rides on freight cars and stuff like that. And to be around all that heavy equipment, to be around the freight cars and the metal, and I mean, this is massive amounts of iron around you all the time. You know what I mean? Everything can hurt you.
Everything can hurt. Yeah.
Everything about, to me,
everything's bigger than you, bigger and stronger and harder than you.
Right. Everything about it. You have to have a crane for this. You got all these stuff going on. There's a lot of danger involved in all that. Getting the rail cars to go where you want them to go, or all this stuff. And if you're an engineer, I would think they would want to take as much effort as possible to make it a pleasurable, work site, not one guy on the train and has to go 14 hours without sleeping or something like that. So you think about all that, and having been around some of that, I really kind of had a great deal of empathy for those folks out in those rail yards, all kind of weather.
Yeah.
I mean, the trains are probably still moving in Buffalo at 77 inches of snow too. I mean, those guys have to work through that stuff. So let's hope they resolve that. Let's not hold the country. Let's not hold the country at hostage.
Yeah.
Pay those guys enough. Let them have their days off, their sick days, and there's so few of them. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? And that's all I have to say about that.
That's
you can
it.
see I'm sensitive about that.
I can. Yeah, you can see. I don't have any. I can't comment strongly because I don't know the details of the situation. I don't know what they're making now or what they're asking. So I
don't even care. Give them what they want and let them keep things running.
All right. We'll send you the bill.
Well, we'll get the bill.
We'll get the bill. That's right.
We'll get the bill one way or the other if it's if they do go on strike.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of bills, You remember it was a couple episodes ago I told you about
I'm
my
sorry, Dave. I didn't mean to distract you with that
yeah,
rant there. So go
yeah.
ahead.
Remember I talked about the problems I was going through with the water company in Pittsburgh to get a final reading, and then they kept billing me and billing me, and my wife must have spent hours on the phone with these people trying to unravel it. And then they finally, on the podcast, I said, okay, they said it's finally resolved. All right, we're done. They said, we're out of the system. Great. About 4 days ago, we got another water bill from Pittsburgh.
Isn't that interesting?
Isn't that interesting? And
And you,
a couple days later, I got an email from the new owner saying, I still haven't gotten any water bill. I'm afraid that I'm going to get a big bill with all kind of back charges and this and that. I said, I said, I give up. They lied to us. I don't know. But it's just, I talk about inefficiency.
that and there just doesn't seem any way you can get through this crowd, is there? Just you think it would be such a simple thing. So, and I'm laughing too because you even took a part-time job to cover the cost of
I
this
did.
water bill.
I
Yeah, and so
did.
and you
I
did your
did.
level best to pay
I
this and not
did.
have this
Yeah.
dragging after you. So
Yeah. Jeez.
I don't know, maybe more emails, an actual registered letter or something. You know, you can
I,
try
I'm not gonna.
try
I'm not gonna.
something outrageous.
I'm not gonna do anything else. I'm just gonna let it go. My wife went into the system again, and she says, okay, and I think she deleted everything this time rather than counting on the
Mm.
water company to delete it. So we don't exist according to the water company records at this point. We hope, but we'll see.
Well, the recommendation to the new owner, they should literally walk down to the place and stand there at the desk
Yeah,
and not leave
leave.
until they resolve the issue. That sometimes work. I did that one time in a doctor's office when they wouldn't give me an appointment. I told you that's
So I'm not leaving, huh?
story.
Tell me.
No, trying to resolve an issue. I said, I went to the doctor. I said, yeah, you guys got to check this. They said, well, we can't get you in today. We're busy. And I said, well, all right then. I said, how about if I just lay over here on the floor or right out here on the front sidewalk? In case it gets worse, you don't know. You can just call
You
the
won't
ambulance for me.
won't have to
It
go
wasn't
far.
3 minutes. 3 minutes I was in there. They said, oh, you're out here. Get out of here.
A
Try laying
protest.
down. I recommend that to anybody. If you have trouble in the doctor's office and you just can't seem to get your attention, just lay down on the
Just
floor
lay down on the floor. I like
near
it.
the wall somewhere out of the road, and I guarantee you, very shortly, someone will come by and try to correct the
Try to
situation.
resolve the situation. A sit down
Right.
strike, a lay down strike. I
Hey,
like it.
and on that subject, if you're in a doctor's office, this works too. If you're trying to get, like you're trying to work out the treatment or something, and you're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for your wife or you're doing it for somebody else. And you can just say, listen, I'm going to leave him here now.
You can have him.
That's right. I'm just going to leave him here now. If he dies here, that will be fine with me. Just call. And usually they don't like that. They don't like when they don't. The medical people don't like when you're willing to sacrifice your life. You know what I mean? Like, well, if you don't want to treat him, just let him die in your office. I don't care. I'm leaving.
That's a solution. I like it.
That's a long story. Some of that stuff I've done, but that's a long story about how that works. But it does get you attention. Just lay on the floor and just wait for them to call you, and I guarantee you, you'll get your appointment that day. So, hey, where were we at before I interrupted you with that wild adventure story there?
I don't know. Were we going to do any letters from afar today?
If you have some,
I got one or two or three here. I'm not sure exactly what I have, but I will say that we got a note from Ranger Rick, the intrepid Ranger, pointed out I talked about when we talked about turkeys, and I had mentioned that Ben Franklin had proposed that the turkey be our national bird. So Rick was on the ball here. He said Ben Franklin did extol turkey virtues, and he compared it to the eagle, but it was in a letter to his daughter. It was never formally pitched as our national bird. So there you go.
It's nice to tell that
That's
story that way. It
interesting.
sounds interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
It
So the
sounds
kind of
sympathetic to the turkey.
yeah,
Is
the
what it is.
legend grew up that, he pitched it to Congress. He did not. Okay. He pitched it to his daughter. So. And then on your story, your mention of the abominable snowman and how unfortunate it was to get a label like that. We got pictures here from a Christmas flower show where they've built a snowman here, decorating the tree, and they call him the adorable snowman. They say
That's right.
He's not
That's right.
abominable. He's adorable. So there you
That's
go.
right.
Yeah.
So interesting that someone else had a similar thought.
Mm-hmm.
Why call him abominable? I mean, and then you did send me a picture of that, I think, and it was
I did send you a picture. It's cute.
a cute man like snowman with a smiley face. I mean, what the heck? So,
yeah, it's cute. So they're out there listening to us, baby. And I had another one, but I lost it. I'm sorry, but it was highly complimentary to you, as I recall. So as usual.
oh, well, to that listener, thank you very much.
Whatever you said, right?
Speaking of good ideas, I do come up with some interesting ideas sometime.
I'll give you that.
That I run by you. Some I try on my own, and we always tell people don't try this at home because
don't try this at home.
It's already failed at it. But there's something that I've always thought would be a good idea if I were able to do this. I'm technically not allowed to do this. I like when I'm working in the kitchen, I like to have everything I need pretty much ready at hand, almost like like a chef likes his utensils and stuff nearby he's going to use. And I've always liked stuff like that to be handy. Like, I'll give you an example. I was allowed to hang my cutting board on the wall.
Okay.
I put a screw in the wall and I hung the cutting board on the wall. I got away with that because I use it all the time on the countertop when I'm stabbing my Keurig cups. I sometimes miss the cup, and when I'm cutting the bottom off of my Keurig cups. I told you why I do that.
Yep. That's episode.
So I'm doing that. Yeah. And that works too.
That works.
So I'm stabbing, and sometimes I miss the cup and I hit otherwise I'd go through the countertop. So I have that right handy. I pull it off the wall. But I would like to put a lot of other stuff on the wall. Not in closets or not in cupboards. I would like to have it so I could just reach up and get that. Now I keep all the knives on the countertop for that purpose. That works out pretty good because I refuse to have any knife in a drawer. I have all the knives on the countertop because that's where I use them.
That's where you use them. Okay.
So
fair enough.
Picture your kitchen. All the listeners, picture your kitchen, and in front of your stove and over your sink or around all the things you need are hanging right on the wall. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Perfect.
Yeah. No cabinet doors to open.
What's preventing you from doing that? Why don't you do that? Why don't you just hang everything?
Well, in my house, we have to have two opinions, sort of have a collective.
And yours doesn't count.
I only have half a vote.
You each get a vote, and yours doesn't count.
And if I should circumvent that vote, if I should negate that other vote by doing it, I will find whatever I attempted to do in the trash or missing when I go back to look at it again.
Back in the doctor's office. Well, it's good that you realize that. It's good that you know.
That's right. So that's why a lot of stuff is not hanging.
You know your place in the world, yeah.
But our listeners, they might see the potential for that, and maybe they could write in and tell us how much stuff they have hanging right around, right above the countertop there, the stuff that you can put on the wall. And again, it's not spices. I don't usually do that. That I dig for, but the tools that I like.
Tools of the trade.
I like to have that stuff ready handling there, and so that's just my thoughts.
Great idea.
That's a great idea.
I think that's what the great chefs of Europe do, right? They have everything hanging there.
I'm probably not in their home, maybe not in their home.
I don't know that,
but they get away with it at their work.
Depends who they're married to.
Yeah, it depends on who
the
other half is.
What else?
No more good ideas on that.
No more good
stuff
ideas.
Like that. Nothing like that. I did read something the other day, and I don't know if we have time to even talk about this, called food insecurity.
Food insecurity.
Yeah, there was an
Okay.
article about really there's a lot of people got a free meal on Thanksgiving, and I assume those people never eat again until next year. You know what I mean?
Uh,
And they're saying no, no. They said we have lots of wasted food in America. That's a good topic for another day. I think
okay.
there's lots and lots of ways, in my view, to salvage so much stuff. Like they've now started selling like defected looking bananas, a banana with a brown mark on it. I
Yep.
always used,
Yep.
all kind of stuff like that that
Yep.
that gets literally trashed and can't even be reused maybe as animal feed or something like that. I don't know how it is. I'll have to dig into that a little bit. I'll think more about that. But that was an interesting topic for the old bucks, I think, to discuss sometime in the future.
All right. Well, let's put that on the docket for the next time, maybe. As we've covered a lot of subjects here today, actually, in a small amount of time. And a small amount of time is what we have left.
I see that.
If you get my drift.
We do get a warning when we're talking via, Zoom or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, let me say this then. This is
Yeah.
Old Buck Dale. Hey, thankful to be able to do this again, and thankful for our listeners. Uh, had a great Thanksgiving. Hope everybody else did too. And let's just say this is Old Buck Dale saying, talk to you again.
And this is Old Buck Dave right behind him saying, be thankful for the things you have, folks. Bring joy in somebody's life and talk to a friend. Take care, everybody. Next time. Bye bye.